Welcome to the Flight Club Podcast, a woman's guide to leaning out. We give you a behind-the-scenes look at business launch and growth through the stories of successful female entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Felina Hansen, founder and CEO of Hera Hub.
Hello and welcome. I am excited to have this conversation today with Amy Airom. She is the founder of Capitalize Social Media. We're going to get to talk about social media today, one of our favorite topics. She started her business on the heels of her exit from her 15-year corporate career to be with her son. And 5.5 years, and 2 businesses later, she found her niche in helping life and business coaches gain visibility, build relationships, and grow their business using both Facebook and Instagram. Welcome to the show today, Amy.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to share your story. So let's go back. Take us back along your career path.
Yeah, definitely. So I had worked for Verizon for 15 years, right out of kind of a confusing career path where I wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go with. In college, I was working for Verizon Wireless, and it was really at the very inception of the company. So I had the opportunity to join Verizon, and I really enjoyed it. I finished up my college career in my business classes. I finally settled on, a business management degree through University of Phoenix, and I was really happy at Verizon and just continued my career path there. So I went up the ranks through managing call center, customer service teams, and then eventually moved over to retail. And we managed a lot of different retail stores. I got bounced around to different stores to help them improve. I actually won a President's Cabinet Award in the sales management team I was working with at the time that won me an all expenses paid trip to Italy, which I'm very proud of. So
wow, that's amazing.
It was almost 10 years ago now, and it was so strong in my memory still. I had such fond memories of going around in Milan and Venice and Rome and all the sightseeing. So it was an incredible experience. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time with Verizon, bouncing around and helping all the different customer service and sales teams. It was really enjoyed it.
That is a long time, a long tenure with one company, but it sounds like you wore many hats, and so they kept you engaged and learning and growing. Culture-wise, what was the culture like at Verizon?
It was a big family, really. Whenever you moved to different departments, it was very continuous, and that really made it an easy transition, for example, to go from customer service in the call center to retail. And when I was excelling in the retail stores, it was really a neat challenge to be able to move to a different location as a manager and rally the team and improve results. And then, then my job was done and I moved to the next store. And that is basically, I did that in Arizona for 10 years. And then I moved to San Diego and did more store management in a different capacity locally in San Diego for under 4.5 years, actually. Yeah. So, definitely different. They definitely moved me around and kept me engaged. And it was a really neat experience just to see the company grow over that amount of time. They're going from, in 2000 where there wasn't even any remnants of a cell phone and I had an idea what the smartphones or iPhone or anything was going to be. There wasn't even two-way text messaging. Text messaging was born when I was working in the call centers to, going from all the way to the first BlackBerry and now, having an iPhone launch every 9 months or so. It was definitely an incredible experience.
Yeah, I bet. And what ultimately made you decide to leave Verizon?
Well, I always had, my mom actually stayed at home with us. So I'd always had in the back of my mind that, when I had a family, I want to stay at home with my children. And so that was, exactly what I had in mind. I love my career and I love Verizon. And then when I met my husband and we decided to start a family, I I said, oh, this is my time. I've done my time at Verizon, and my son was born, and I just wanted to spend as much time with him as I could. And so that's when I ended my career and become a full-time stay-at-home mom.
Awesome. Love it. So something tells me that you didn't sit still, though. So, so talk about some of the things that you have launched over the last couple years, and then take us up to the point of the launch of Capitalize Social Media.
Definitely. Yeah. I had my dream of staying at home, and however that was going to be what I really wanted to do, is stay at home with my son. And went about 6 months, and about the 6 month mark, it was this really big internal struggle that I had, where I had built up this dream of wanting to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I was very kind of frustrated. I had worked for 15 years, very hard and very stressful, busy situations. And then it just kind of, life just stopped. And, although I loved being at home with my son, I loved, having that time, that freedom with my family, I just was really wanting something more. And at that 6 to 9 month mark, I started talking to my husband. I was like, I want to do something. I don't want to go back to a real, 9 to 5 kind of job, but I definitely want to feel a little more challenged and, in that way, kind of in a working manner. So we brainstormed, and he thought, what things did I really want to do, and what do I really love? Where's my passion? He kind of helped me lead on that path. And I just immediately thought I loved to shop and save money using coupons and finding deals. And so that was what I started with. I started a website called couponingworks.com. It's no longer there, so don't look for it. And so then I started, creating articles and just writing, blogging whenever I had the chance during nap time and when my son went to bed. And whenever I had free time, I was blogging, creating articles to teach people how to save money and do what I do. Basically, go to Target and combine a bunch of coupons and deals totally legitimately, and you can save a lot of money, like 50% basically, on all the shopping that I did at the very minimum. So Wow. It was fun for me, and I wanted to teach other people how to do it. And then that's when, early 2014, when Facebook and Instagram really started gaining some momentum, I thought, how am I going to get people to learn about my website? Okay, I'll use this social media thing, and let's see what this is all about. So I created a Facebook page and an Instagram account, and just started, teaching myself how to really gain visibility for my business and my blog through social media.
Love it. Awesome. How long did you have that business?
I did that for about 2.5 years, actually. I was, up all night, creating these blogs, new sales and new deals come up, and I was pounding away at the keyboard till midnight, creating these articles, and then putting blog posts on Facebook and Instagram, and talking to people and teach them how to do these things. This is before Facebook Live too. So this is all without video. It was all just with text. So it was a different experience than it is now. But that's what I did for 2.5 years. And then at one point I said, I really like this social media thing. But it's really hard to run a blog and a business and do the social media at the same time, just by myself. I kind of wanted to decide to pick one at that point. So I chose to explore social media more. And it was really starting to gain some momentum even more. Facebook and Instagram became more popular, and people are, really using it to leverage their business. And so that's what I started doing. I reached out to anybody and everybody that would be interested in helping me learn about their social media and how could it help them with their business, and just tried a bunch of different techniques. And again, on my laptop, on my phone, all the time that I could when I had free time that wasn't with my son. And I taught myself basically as much as I could at social media and leveraging it, and was really successful. So after about 6 to 8 months of doing kind of free pro bono work for my friends and family and connections, I decided to start Capitalize Social Media, because it was very at high demand at that point.
Yeah, absolutely, and still is. Before we fully move on to your current business and what you do and who you serve and all that good stuff, just out of curiosity, how are you monetizing the Couponing Works business?
Oh yeah, good question. So I had created Google AdWords accounts, and
Okay.
between ad money through Google and then affiliate partnerships as well. So when people would go to my website, of course, a certain amount of clicks would pay me out through Google, as well as partnerships with either coupon websites or coupon providers I would also enter links into my website that people that would visit and print coupons and things like that would pay me out as well. So it wasn't lucrative by any means for what I taught myself how to do, but I did learn a lot of skills from when I taught myself how to build WordPress websites over the course of those couple of years, and really learn the ins and outs of social media too. So it was, I basically broke even over those 2.5 years. We'll just call it that. Broke even with an additional skill set.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, if you would have gone back to school and, tried to, utilize that as a vehicle to learn some of these things, it would have cost you money, right? And
Right.
you could do it from home and learn and,
Yeah.
build those skills without having to pay for it. So, all right. So take us into your current business. Again, Capitalize Social Media. First, why the name? And then tell us more about what you do, Amy.
Definitely. So my business, Capitalize Social Media, was named specifically to encapsulate the acronym consistency and purpose, because I found over the course of the time, researching different strategies, it's all about being consistent when you're creating content on social media and having a purpose behind it. So making sure that, people, our businesses that I'm helping are aligning with their business goals, basically, and making sure that they're not just publishing content that's just there's no intent behind it, making sure there is purpose behind it. So Capitalize is consistency and purpose. I help businesses connect with consistency and purpose, and that's where my tagline came from as well.
Fantastic. All right, so let's talk more about your customers, who you serve.
Yeah, so I, over the course of the last couple of years, when I've started on this path, I was helping everybody. I was really, anybody that wanted social media help, I was there and I was going to help them. And, over the course of time, with anything, you really figure out what clients that you work best with and what partnerships, become the most beneficial for both parties. And just recently, in the last 6 to 8 months or so, I've narrowed into that niche of business and life coaches. And that realization took a long time for me to really figure out, because I knew that I liked to work on life coach, career coaches, sales coaches, all these different types of expertise that people that are in these fields have the opportunity to work with anybody, anybody internationally, where the web allows us to reach. So that is a huge advantage with social media, because you can reach so many different people in any area of the world. And that is where I started with helping those coaches gain visibility through consistency and purpose, and use social media to build those connections and to gain new clients. And now that realization from the reason that, I love working with these coaches, and it took me a while to really figure it out, but drawing back my experience to working at Verizon Wireless, where I was a coach, and I did, work with employees and coach them through improving their skills and in their business and their life, really, that correlated to why I like to work with coaches so much now, because I identify with them so much. And so it's really kind of made my experience and my career really come full circle to now be able to work with these coaches that have these incredible expertise that can build relationships through social media and gain new clients and really make a difference using the benefits of my services with their work.
Fantastic. I want to talk about this world of social media management, it's time consuming, frankly. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize, when they launch a business and okay, yes, everybody has to be on social media and, Facebook and Instagram. I mean, they're two of the most prolific platforms out there. But it takes time. It takes time to decide the content, the purposeful content that you're putting out there. It takes time to listen. It takes time to respond. When somebody comes to you and asks for a proposal, talk about that process and how do you educate folks that maybe haven't engaged somebody, they haven't outsourced their social media, and help them understand how time consuming that is. And therefore, this is not something you pay, a couple $100 a month for and walk away from.
Right, definitely. There is definitely a conversation. And as I've more experience and talking to more people, it makes it more clear. And there's really two ways to go about it, and the ways that I work with my clients. And there's lots of other different ways, but the ways that I found most successful are either, I'm going to help you, guide you in the process of understanding your strategy and, who you're talking to with your ideal clients and what and where kind of to post. And that is one way they get, depending on the amount of time that they have, they can be involved in that process. And that's, again, like you said, making sure that they have the time to commit to carrying kind of some of the work. So that's one way that I work with my clients. And another way is I found early on, people sometimes just don't want to deal with it at all. And they just want to hand it over to somebody to do all of the work. Now I can do about 90% of it and, take them out as much as possible. There are things that, of course, they need to be involved in and videos and things like that. So that is, that's a huge part of it. Is you can hand over so much, but there's still some that you obviously need to be involved in to make it successful. So I have a system that I developed over the last couple of years that's really worked. There's been some tweaks to it, of course. There's some new features as well, like Facebook stories, Instagram stories, Facebook Live, all these new features. And that's another benefit of people working with me, is that I stay on top of all of those new features and integrate them into their strategy whenever they become relevant and when they're really going to benefit them. I think that's the hardest thing that people have is, number one, they know that they need to be on social media. Number two, they don't know what to do, but then it changes and they get all spun out. And that's the hardest thing. So I'm like the peace of mind where it's, I'm going to stick with you because I'm researching all the things that are coming up and finding if they're relevant or not, and applying to them to your strategy if they're relevant, and not feeling like, they're out of control with all of the things that happen, because it is a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, and even just looking at Facebook itself, there's so many different layers and aspects. It's not just, okay, I have a business page and, that's it. Especially working with coaches who are their business, right? They are the personality of the business, and they, need to be doing video. And is it, Facebook Live? Is it stories? Is it let's do a group and then let's go live in the group every day? I mean, there's a lot of decisions to be made there.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite tools or, favorite things that are happening both on Facebook and Instagram right now?
Yeah, there's two things I really enjoy. And the first one, of course, is video. And that is primarily because, especially with working with coaches, there's a lot of coaches out there, and there's a lot, and even specific niches. And the biggest way to be able to, for them to differentiate themselves from any other coaches that may do similar work, is through video, because it gives them the opportunity to bring their personality forward and really have someone get to know them before they even meet them. And so video is, of course, across both platforms, Facebook and Instagram, is a huge way to leverage the capabilities of the platform, as well as connect with potential clients and really get them to gain visibility across their level or their area of expertise. So that Instagram Live, you can go on Instagram Live and on Facebook Live. And definitely, if you're on Facebook, if you want to get any kind of traction, you definitely want to incorporate Facebook Live into your strategy. So that's
Yeah,
definitely something. And then, yeah.
because Facebook has, over the last few years, really on the business page side, definitely gone more to a pay to play sort of model, right? I
Right.
mean, you don't get served up organically as a business. I mean, maybe a teensy bit. What do those numbers look like if you happen to know off the top of your head, or what are you seeing with clients as far as engagement of when they're paying versus not paying for that engagement?
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, and of course, that people talk about, business pages just aren't getting the attention that they used to get, and I've seen that over the course of the last 2.5 years. But there is ways to really engage your audience without having to pay for ads, and that's primarily what I do, is using the organic tools and the free tools that are there available to you, and the knowledge that you have of your audience, and testing different things and finding what works to really engage your audience. Because typically, there's maybe 1 to 3% organic reach on any normal
Mm,
post.
yeah.
But if you're, using the tools, like I said, Facebook Live, and you're engaging your audience through the content that that they really enjoy, you're going to see closer to, 10, 20, 30% easily. But a lot of times my clients can get up to 40 to 50% depending on the piece of content and the strategy that we have going at the time.
That's great. I love it. Well, Amy, what is on the horizon for your business in the upcoming year?
Well, ever since, I started my business and I found the way to create something I'm really passionate about while having, my son at home, I really thought about my mission, and that is continuous. But, in the short term, I want to hire employees. I want to hire full-time stay-at-home moms that really want to have that capability to have work at home, as well as the privilege of staying at home with their children, and having that income and that sense of, something else while you have that time when they're little at home. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, growing my business to support those full-time stay-at-home moms that want just a little extra side income, that want something else to do, that gives them that community and just that ability to grow while they're at home with their children. So that's, over the next couple of years, that's my mission. That's what's going to be happening. Hopefully I can start hiring employees towards the end of this year, 2020.
That's exciting. I love it. And you've got the management experience. I mean, you've been there, done that many times. I know you
Yeah.
and I have had this conversation where I know my biggest skill set is not managing people. So I, I don't want to say I avoid it at all costs, but it wouldn't be, something that I would have the skill set like you do. And so that's exciting to be able to give other, parents an opportunity to have that balance and to, learn something new. That's fantastic. Well, with that, Amy, if our listeners do want to reach out to you, they want to learn more about you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, definitely. They can visit my website, capitalizesocialmedia.com, and click on the contact link as well. Facebook.com, Capitalize Social Media. I'm pretty much on Facebook all the time. They can reach me through my business page as well.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for your time today, Amy.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you for joining this week's episode of Flight Club, sponsored by Hera Hub. We look forward to sharing more success stories with you soon.